as I understand, most of you are the same who were yesterday. Still, just to have a brief introduction of Swami Nikhileshwarananda. As you all know, he is head of the Vadodara Center of Ramakrishna Mission, and he is basically chemical engineer. He has given so many such presentations on various aspects, not only in such associations, but even in so many corporates also. And today, he doesn't need much introduction, but the major aspect of it is, tomorrow there is one session which perhaps more useful to young generation. It is on the subject, how to win the game of life. How to win the game of life. It is in the first half, morning 9:30 to 12:30, and it is just token amount 200 rupees, which either you people or your children or your neighbors, anybody can think of enrolling in that program. Yeah, so without taking much of the time, I will request Swamiji to switch on this lecture. But before that, I will suggest that whosoever is having mobile, please switch off to have a scintillating session without any disturbance. Yeah, thank you very much. Swamiji, please.
Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Dear friends, I am extremely happy to meet you once again this evening. I think most of you were there yesterday. And today's topic, as you know, Swami Vivekananda, a global leader for a global civilization. As you know, Swami Vivekananda was born on 12 January 1863. And so that is why 150th birth anniversary is going to be celebrated all over the world from 2013 to 14. But as a prelude to that celebration, the government of India has got a central committee with the Prime Minister of India as the chairperson, and many programs, particularly for upliftment of the poor, for overcoming the problems of malnutrition, and also various other service projects have been envisaged, and also the spreading the literature of Swami Vivekananda, various publications. So many types of activities have been planned, and to create an atmosphere for that particular celebration which is yet to come, already some preparations have been started. Some projects have been already sort of started, and not only that, as it is, the celebration is continuing from 2010 to 2014, although the actual celebration will start from 2013. And that is why even this discussion today is sort of creating an atmosphere of having that a feeling about Swami Vivekananda, so that we can have a glimpse up to the personality. Now, as you know, globalization has come all over the world. At least on economic front, globalization has come to stay. And the world has been united, at least on physical plane, as never before. The communications technology has undergone tremendous transformation. The physical distance has been annihilated. When Swami Vivekananda started from Bombay on 31st May 1893 for going to Chicago to participate in the World Parliament of Religion, he started on a ship on 31st May 1893, and by the end of June 1893, after 2 months, he reached Chicago. On 18 June 2011, I started from Ahmedabad, morning 4 o'clock. By 12:30 in the afternoon, I was at New York airport. So see, I reached there within 10 hours. Of course, exactly within 8 hours, but if you say there is a time lag, even then also the travel time is not more than 12 hours. So the communication, the whole technology undergone so much transformation. Not only that, communication technology undergone transformation. With the internet, mobile, STD, ISD, the physical distance has been annihilated. It has become a global village, as they say. But paradoxically, although the physical distance has been annihilated, the human relationships have undergone further degradation, and the mental distances have been increased rather than decreased. Because of the latest communication technology, you can talk to your friend thousands of kilometers away, sitting on your sofa, and there is such a beautiful communication. Previously, when you telephoned from here by trunk call, if you had a trunk call to Bombay, you had to shout. But now, you can listen so nicely, New York, London, thousands of kilometers away, because the communication is being done by satellite technology. Such wonderful communication. But the paradox is that you can communicate very nicely sitting on the sofa, with a friend thousands of kilometers away. But there is no communication from last 6 months with your own wife sitting on the same sofa. Abola lida che. So, there is no talking. They are not in talking terms. They are living together because they don't want to take divorce. When the children grow up, then they will take divorce. They are waiting for that. So many such cases. They are living together. Now I am in Baroda for last 5 years. But before that, I was for 8 years in Porbandar. And before that, for 10 years, I was in Rajkot, editing a Gujarati monthly, Sri Ramakrishna Jyot. At that time, I used to go to Baroda for some lectures. So one day, I was returning from a lecture from Baroda, and I was at the Baroda railway station waiting for a train to go to Rajkot, back to Rajkot. And at a short distance, there was one couple standing, husband and wife. Both were standing nearby each other, but husband was looking at one side, and the wife was looking at the other side. After some time, the husband very politely asked, "Why the train is coming so late?" And the wife roared like a lioness, "Am I the station master that you are asking me why the train is late?" She roared like such loudly that the husband was flung aside 6 feet away, out of fear. I saw with my own eyes. So that is the relationship between husband and wife, relations between mother-in-law and daughter. Of course, that is a very long, historical, from prehistoric times we have got the Sasu Bahu, that there are so many serials also, Sasu Bahu. So there is Sas Bahu, that serials, and mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. But now, so much generation gap, there is tussle between mother and daughter, brother and brother. So physical distance has been annihilated, but mental distance increased. Not only that, there is no peace in the family, there is no peace in the nation, there is no peace in the society, there is no peace in the world. Where is global peace? We have globalization, but where is the global peace? Global peace is not there. Global peace cannot come unless and until we have a global civilization based on spiritual culture. Samuel P. Huntington, he's written a beautiful book. The name of the book is The Clash of Civilizations and Remaking of a World Order, where he says, for the last 50 years, whatever wars have been fought, we do not know also. So many cold wars are going on between so many countries. We are unaware about it sitting here in India. But so many wars are going on. He says most of the wars are not between two countries. Most of the wars are between civilizations. In the name of countries, actually it is the two civilizations that is clashing together, clashing with each other. and more particularly, it is a clash between Islam and Christianity. Outwardly, we think that the countries are fighting. Outwardly, we feel that the countries are attacking each other. But no, inside that, the inside story of terrorism, inside story of these wars, inside story of all this that is happening is a clash of civilizations. And this is the problem that was solved more than 100 years back by Swami Vivekananda. He is a global leader. If we want to have a global peace, we must have global civilization, and that global civilization will come only we have global leaders who are acceptable to all religions, to all religious people, to all countries, to all types of people, rich, poor, lower caste, higher caste, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality. If we have a global leader who will be acceptable to all, he alone can be a real global leader who can solve our problems. And Swami Vivekananda was a born leader. Not only he was a born leader with greatest qualities of all the leadership that any modern CEO should have, but apart from that, he was a world leader, a global leader, with a global vision and a global mission. If you read his life, wonderful life by Swami Vivekananda, life of Swami Vivekananda by Eastern and Western disciples, or life by Romarola, the French Nobel Prize winner. In fact, Rabindranath Tagore told Romarola, if you want to know India, study Vivekananda. In him everything is positive, nothing negative. And then Romarola, when he studied the life of Swami Vivekananda, he was so much enamored. In 1933, he was inspired to write a biography of Swami Vivekananda. In 1902, Swami Vivekananda left his body, entered into Mahasamadhi. After 30 years, Romarola wrote the book on Swami Vivekananda. And then he said, his words are great music, phrases in the style of Beethoven. I cannot touch these sayings of his scattered as they are. Through the pages at a 30th distance, without receiving a thrill through my body, like an electric shock. Swami Vivekananda was a global inspirer with a global message, a global vision, and a global mission. So many stalwarts, so many thinkers from all over the world, whether in China, Russia, France, America, India, they are all enamored by the message of Swami Vivekananda. And they understand that Swami Vivekananda's message is a message of a global leader. Swami Vivekananda, he gave his historic speech at the World's Parliament Religion in 1893. And the date on which he gave his speech was 11 September 1893. That was also 9/11. Mind you. And on that day he gave a warning. What did he say? If you want to listen to the exact words, Swami Vivekananda said, sectarianism, bigotry, and its horrible descendant fanaticism have long possessed this beautiful earth. They have filled the earth with violence, drenched it often and often with human blood, destroyed civilization, and sent whole nations to despair. Had it not been for these horrible demons, human society would be far more advanced than it is now. And then he said, but I fervently pray that the bell that tolled this morning in the honor of this convention may be the death knell of all sorts of fanaticism, of all sorts of dogmatism, and of all sorts of persecution, whether with the sword or whether with the pen. But we did not listen to his warning. We did not listen to his message. And that is why there was another 9/11. And the world tower was broken. Mind you, he gave this warning that we must have respect towards all religions. And he said in the Parliament of Religions, we in India, we do not only tolerate all religions, but we accept all religions as equally true. Ekam sadvipra bahudha vadanti. That has been the message of Mother India. India never went out of its bound to attack any country in the world. India's message has been the message of harmony and peace and non-violence. That is why Arnold J. Toynbee, he said, the present chapter of the history had Western beginning. But if the world has to survive from self-destruction in this atomic age, it must have an Indian end. And then he says, Mahatma Gandhi and Emperor Ashoka's principle of non-violence and Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa's message of harmony of religions, these are the messages which will save the whole world from self-destruction in this atomic age. So Swami Vivekananda gave that message. And because he had a universal heart, that is why when he started his speech, a very short speech, sisters and brothers of America, just few words, and all the 7,000 people stood up and they clapped for minutes together. What was that magical influence? Why that magical influence? Why these people stood up? They did not know. But because the words came from the universal heart of Swami Vivekananda, who had realized that universal message, who had realized oneness with the whole universe. And because he felt from the bottom of his heart that really they were sisters and brothers of America, and that is why he touched the hearts of all the sisters and brothers of America, and they all stood up. I was recently in the USA, as I told you last year. I saw that art institute, that historic hall, that historic building. That building still stands today, same building. Only a few buildings now survive, other buildings have been destroyed. But that building where Swami Vivekananda gave his historic speech is still standing, of course. But the interior part has been changed. There were two halls. Those halls have been already demolished. But there is a small Falcon Hall where Swami Vivekananda had given speech. That particular spot, I stood there. And now they have put a plaque in 1995. They have put a plaque that here on this spot, Swami Vivekananda, the great leader of, that great religious leader of India, the great monk of India, had given his historic speech. They have given that. Plaque is there. Nobody else's name is there. So many leaders had come from all over the world. Only Swami Vivekananda's name is there. Not only that, the way opposite, the Art Institute has been given Vivekananda Way in Chicago. So, in fact, American government gives so much of respect to Swami Vivekananda. They brought out a book, 100 great makers of modern America, when one of the name was Swami Vivekananda. 100 great makers of America. And there was a book, the great makers of modern India. Swami Vivekananda's name is not there. That is a paradox, and that is the tragedy. We do not know. In fact, and American government says Swami Vivekananda is ours, not yours. Why? Because when he was in India, he was wandering, you did not give him one chapati also. Sometimes he had to starve for 2-3 days. But when he came to America and when we gave respect, then afterwards you gave him respect. So he is a finding of America. So America says Swami Vivekananda is ours. China says no. He is humanitarian. Zian Hung Chuan, he is a professor in Peking University. He says Swami Vivekananda's message is a message of humanism. He could understand the message of socialism much better than any of the leaders in India. And so he is our favorite hero, Swami Vivekananda. Russian scientists like Rybakov, the Russian thinkers like E.P. Chelysev, all of them say, no, Swami Vivekananda is the only inspiring source for us from India, because he talked about socialism at so long back, and he predicted that the next upheaval will come from Russia or China. At that time, nobody had predicted. Everybody thought the labor movement was very, very prominent in Germany. Maybe the upheaval or the revolution will come from Germany. But Swami Vivekananda was not only a great and ardent student of history, but he was a visionary. He was a visionary. So during his visions, whatever he told has come true. When he was staying with the Professor Harvard Wright's, Professor Wright, who is from the Harvard University, professor of Harvard University. Mrs. Wright writes in the diary that Swami Vivekananda gave so many prophecies which turned out to be true later on, much later on. But he was not an astrologer, but he was a visionary. So whatever he said came true. So he had predicted that the next upheaval of the revolution will come from Russia or China. I cannot see very clearly. It will be either from Russia or China. And that really happened. He told, after Britishers leave India, there is a great danger that China may attack India. Nobody had ever thought that Britishers will leave India. I'm talking about 1893. He told this in 1893 because he had gone to a small village, Annisquam village. I went to that village also. That Annisquam small little village where he went near Boston because in Chicago it was very expensive and he had no money. He had no clothes, nothing to food, nothing to eat. And so he remembered that one lady had met her in the train while going from Vancouver to Chicago, Mrs. Henbro. So, I'm forgetting the name. So that lady had told that you come to near Boston, I have got a small village, I am staying there, and you can stay with me. So Swami Vivekananda remembered, I can get free lodging, boarding here, no money. So he went there to her house. And she was very happy. Every day evening she will take Swami Vivekananda in a horse carriage and move around the whole village to show what a very strange type of animal I have brought from foreign country with a strange dress. And curiously people would look, and she also got satisfaction. And Swami Vivekananda had to undergo all these tribulations because what to do, free lodging, boarding, no money was there. But near that house, there was the house of Professor John Henry Wright, and Professor John Henry Wright, when he heard Swami Vivekananda's talks, he said, Swamiji, you have got so much knowledge. You must participate in the World Parliament of Religion in Chicago. Swamiji said, I came only for that purpose, but they are telling where is the letter of recommendation. And he did not take any letter of recommendation. He was very simple like a monk. He said, okay, his friends told, some youngsters, they told you go and participate in Chicago Parliament of Religion. So he went. He never thought that there will be some letter of recommendation with all the necessary. Then Professor Henry says, what, Swami? To ask credentials from you is like asking the sun as to what right it has to sign on the earth. And then he said, okay, I'll give you the letter of introduction. And then he wrote. He wrote to John Henry Barrows, the chairman of World Parliament of Religion, Chicago. He said, here is a man who is more learned than all our professors of America put together. That is the certificate he gave. And that is how later on he got an access to Parliament of Religion. Otherwise he was denied access. And after that also he was given only 5 minutes. But within 5 minutes he gave such a historic speech. He did not talk about Hinduism. He talked about universalism. He talked about that Sanatana Dharma which talks about accepting all religions equally true, not a dogmatic Hinduism. And that is why he was everywhere applauded. And what a transformation came. Within overnight he became a world hero. And all the newspapers with full-size photographs. And in all the streets of Chicago, full-size photographs were hung. So many posters were hung. In the newspapers, they were all full of Vivekananda, Vivekananda, Vivekananda. One of the most important newspapers, New York Herald, wrote about Swami Vivekananda. He said, so many religious leaders have come from all over the world for this Parliament of Religions. But the greatest figure in the Parliament of Religions is Swami Vivekananda, only 30 years old monk. The greatest figure in the Parliament of Religions is Swami Vivekananda. And the next sentence is more important. After listening to him, we feel how foolish on our part to send missionaries to India. Their religion is so great, rather we should invite missionaries from India. The whole thing turned. And that time afterwards, the whole income of the Christian missionaries went down because they were telling, oh, India is an uncivilized country, there is no religion there, so send the Bible there, and save them from, because they don't have religion. But when Swami Vivekananda gave, he said, this is the greatest religion on earth, and this is such a great country. Such people like Vivekananda are there in that country. And so, the income of the Christian missionary came 1/10. When Swami Vivekananda went there, so many Christians, they became ardent friends of Swami Vivekananda. But those who were orthodox, they took it upon themselves, the task of fighting with him. And he fought single-handedly with those orthodox missionaries. And when he was invited in Detroit, so they said that now this heathen has to be taught lesson. So immediately after the lecture, they started asking questions on Christianity. Swami Vivekananda had tremendous knowledge about all religions. And as far as Christianity is concerned, he had a very deep knowledge. In fact, while traveling all over the country, he used to have only 2 books with him because most of the time he went on foot. Only 2 small books he carried with him. One Bhagavad Gita and one Imitation of Christ by Thomas A. Kempis. That was his favorite book. And he had so much of Christian literature. And he started giving replies on Christianity so much so that even the fathers did not know so much. And so it turned out it backfired. People thought that he knows more than their fathers. So again they invited him. And now immediately after the lecture they started shooting questions on chemistry. Swami Vivekananda, encyclopedic knowledge. So he answered all the questions chemistry. This also they failed. Then they thought now the heathen must be killed. There is no other way out. So again they invited him. And after the lecture he was just taking a coffee when Sri Ramakrishna appeared. In 1893. Sri Ramakrishna appeared in Detroit in a fine form. Whereas Sri Ramakrishna in physical form, he had already entered into Mahasamadhi on 16th August 1886. But here he appeared. Naren, don't drink. It's poison. And Swami Vivekananda, he did not touch coffee. Later on discovered, yes, it was discovered, it contained coffee. And they wanted to kill him. So single-handed Swami Vivekananda fought. But then he went on spreading the message of universalism. He was not dogmatic in his approach. He was against any type of fanaticism, of any type of dogmatism, of any type of politicization. But he says, no, all religions are equally true. So he gave the message of harmony of religions for the first time in the whole world, in the world parliament of religions. Today the world needs that parliament, that harmony of religions. Most of the conflicts that are going on, as Samuel P. Huntington has said in his book Clash of Civilization, the remaking of a world order, are clashes of civilizations, not clashes between countries. And that is why this message of harmony of religions that Swami Vivekananda gave is very relevant today. If we want to have a global peace, we must have a global civilization. And we must have global leaders like Swami Vivekananda who will give the universal message. It will not be dogmatic in nature, which will be acceptable to all the countries. And that is why Swami Vivekananda is a global leader. More importantly, Swami Vivekananda had a universal heart, which felt for the people, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality, anywhere in the world. I'll just give one example. Swami Vivekananda was staying in his room at Belur Math. You know, the headquarters of Ramakrishna Math and Mission is Belur Math, and there is a small building on the first floor. Swami Vivekananda used to stay. That room has been preserved as it is even now. And even now if you go, you feel as if Swamiji is still staying. His cot, his turban, his musical instrument, everything is kept intact. So Swami Vivekananda at that time used to stay. This is about 1 year before he left his body. He entered into Mahasamadhi, as you know, at the age of 39 years on 4 July 1902. So a little 1 year before that, this is the incident that happened. His brother disciple name was Swami Vivekananda. You know, there were 16 direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna who were the pioneers in Ramakrishna Math and Mission. So there were 15 brother disciples of Swami Vivekananda. One of them was Swami Vivekananda. And he used to stay in the room which is adjacent to Swami Vivekananda room, a very small room. That room is also still there. Now suddenly at midnight, about 1 o'clock, Swami Vivekananda heard that somebody is walking on there is a veranda facing Ganges. There's somebody walking on the veranda near the Ganges. So he came out at midnight. And he was surprised to see Swami Vivekananda was strolling on the veranda. And then he said, Swamiji, are you not getting sleep? Why are you at this midnight strolling? Then Swami Vivekananda said, you know, Passion. He used to call him Passion because Swamiji had that peculiar habit of giving some names to all the people, some nicknames. So his name was Hari Prasanna. So he used to call him Passion. You know, Passion, I was sleeping nicely. Suddenly I got a jerk, a big jerk. And there's a great sorrow that has come to my heart. I do not know. I think somewhere in some corner of the world, a great catastrophe has taken place and people are suffering. And the suffering of those people, they are rebounding in my heart, and I'm feeling tremendous sorrow, and that is why I'm not able to sleep. Swami Vivekananda thought, what is this? In some corner of some world, there is some catastrophe, and people are suffering, and here Swami is not getting sleep. He said, no, 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 you go to sleep, it will be all right. He did not understand the significance of what Swamiji was saying. But next day he was surprised when we got the news, exactly at 1 o'clock, on that night, there was a great earthquake in Fiji Island, and there was a volcanic eruption, and thousands of people had become homeless, and thousands of people had died. Imagine the suffering. Swami Vivekananda's heart was like a seismograph. It recorded the great suffering here, thousands of miles away. That was the heart of Swami Vivekananda, a universal heart. And Swami Vivekananda wrote a beautiful letter, one of the most important letters Swami Vivekananda wrote, which gives the philosophy of Swami Vivekananda, which gives the purpose for which he started Ramakrishna Mission. That also we get through that, which also gives us the glimpse into the universal heart, the global heart that Swami Vivekananda had. Swami Vivekananda writes on 9th May 1897 from Almora. He wrote the letter to Miss Mary Hale of America. Swami Vivekananda writes, mind you, 1897, he wrote this letter. After 5 years, he entered into Mahasamadhi. Swami Vivekananda writes, my dear Mary, I had to talk a lot about myself because I owed that to you. Now I feel my task is done. At the most, 3 or 4 years of life is left behind. I never wanted earthly enjoyments. I have lost all wish for my salvation. I must see my machine in strong working order. And knowing for certain that I have put in a lever for the good of humanity, which no power can yet drive back, at least in India, I will sleep without caring what will be next. And then he says, and may I be born again and again, and suffer thousands of miseries, so that I may worship the only God that exists, the only God that I believe in, the sum total of all souls, and above all, my God the wicked, my God the miserable, my God the poor of all races, of all species, is the special object of my worship. It is for starting this worship of God in man, worship of God in the wicked. I have never heard any prophet telling, I worship the God wicked. I have seen God the poor, yes, but God the wicked, even the wicked person contains God, and I bow down to him. That is the Swami Vivekananda spirit. So that I worship the only God that exists, the only God that I believe in, the sum total of all souls, above all my God the wicked, my God the miserable, my God the poor of all races, of all species, not only of India, of all races, of all species, is the special object of my worship. It is for starting that worship of God in man, Shiva Jnana Jeev Seva, that he started Ramakrishna Mission. And he started this Ramakrishna Mission in 1897, that machine for elevating the good for elevating the humanity, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion and nationality. He started Ramakrishna Mission in 1897. And at the age of 39 years, in 1902, 4 July, on the day of independence of America, he took independence from his body. On 4 July last year, I was in Chicago, and I spoke on 4 July, on 4 July. On 4 July, in Chicago, I spoke on 4 July, because Swami Vivekananda wrote a poem on 4 July, Independence of America, and he chose from the almanac, he marked 4 July, he will give his body. He had already told his disciples. On 4 July, he chose that 4 July for giving up his body. He gave up his body on 4 July. And you know, any person, when he starts any institution, what happens? When the person dies, the institution gradually sinks, and then it becomes extinct. And obituary report of that great person is perhaps the last newspaper report. But here what do we find? When Swami Vivekananda passed away in 1902, there were only 5 centers of Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission, 1 in New York, and 4 in India. Today, after his passing away after more than 100 years, more than 110 years, what is the position? There are 173 branch centers all over the world. 13 in America, United States of America, 13 in Bangladesh, 1 each in Japan, Fiji, Mauritius, Singapore, Switzerland, Argentina, Canada, Australia, South Africa, etc. And rest 140 in India, out of which 4 are in Gujarat, Rajkot, Limdi, Porbandar, Vadodara. Apart from that, there are 1,000 centers not directly affiliated with us, but which are run by our devotees and friends. One such center is in Ahmedabad, in Vastrapur. Likewise, there are more than 1,000 centers with the same type of activities, with the same type of ideology of worshipping the divine in human beings. That expansion. And at that time only there were 2 hospitals and only 1 school. Now, today, 20 indoor hospitals, 110 indoor hospitals, 60 mobile dispensaries, and so many other eye camps and all that. With that, 1 crore of patients getting free medicine, free treatment, more than 1 crore of people every year, and then 6,000 education institutions where 6 lakh students are studying, and a lot of rural and tribal development projects. All this expansion has come after the leader has gone. That was the leadership quality of Swami Vivekananda. That was the leadership. So he practiced servant leadership. He started an institution not in his name, in the name of his Guru Ramakrishna. And he did not take up yesterday I talked about Mahatma Gandhi's that nobility of leadership and how he practiced servant leadership. Robert Greenleaf has started a concept of servant leadership in America, which has become very popular all over the world. But that he started in 76. But our leaders have been practicing this servant leadership for 5,000 years. Krishna becoming a charioteer. Mahatma Gandhi, he practiced. And Swami Vivekananda, he practiced servant leadership. He did not become what he worked so hard that he had to give up his body only at the age of 39 years. Every drop of blood he gave for the sake of humanity, for serving humanity. But then he brought a little money after great struggle. As soon as he came, he handed over the whole money to his brother disciple Swami Brahmanand. He said, "Brother, please keep this. Today I am now free from the burden." And he made Swami Brahmanand the first president of Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission. He did not become the president. No power, no position. He said, "I am servant of my brothers. Whatever my brothers will say, I will follow." So he practiced servant leadership. And now people recognize, yes, there is a book also that has come out, Vivekananda Born Leader by Asim Chaudhary. And of course, Dana Zohar, in her book, SQ, Spiritual Intelligence, the Ultimate Intelligence, she says that Swami Vivekananda was one of the pioneers who demonstrated that servant leadership. A born leader whose mission was global, who was not only missionary, but who was also a visionary and missionary in one. And there are so many people. Swami Vivekananda, they were attracted by Swami Vivekananda. He is a global teacher who attracted all types of people and of all countries. Romarola says he was a born king. He had such majestic outlook, that so much so that a taxi driver in America, he told that you are a born prince. In French he said. Then Swami Vivekananda said, no, I am not a prince. I am just a monk. He said, no. You know, I have been driving taxi, I have been driving so many princes, and so I can look, by look I can understand who is not a prince and who is a prince. You are a prince. The taxi driver is not ready to believe that he is not a prince. He had that princely, regal, royal bearing. And so many kings. King of Limdi, Maharaja Yashwant Singh Ji, the prince of Mysore, the king of Khetri, Ajit Singh Ji, the king of Bhavnagar, Maharaja Kengarji III, that is of Bhuj, and then Bhav Singh, then king of Bhavnagar, all of them, and so many of other kings, they got attracted to him. Some of them became his disciples also. And of course, Ramnath Maharaja, who helped him in going to America in one way. So many kings, they were all attracted by him. At the same time, he writes to his brother disciples, I am no philosopher, nay, no saint, and no philosopher, no saint. I am poor, I love the poor. I am no metaphysician, no philosopher, nay, no saint. I am poor, I love the poor. He was equally loved by poor and rich. And he was equally accessible to rich and poor. In fact, in America, you know, that time that black and white was so much in air. So he was taken for a Negro. So he was not allowed to enter a hotel. Then some of the American said, Swami, you ought to tell them that you are not a Negro. Swamiji immediately retorted, what? To rise at the expense of others? I was not born for that. I was not born for that. To rise at the expense of others. Not only that, he said, for me, the Negro is as great as a white or a Mongolian. For me, all are equal. I am equally indebted to all the types of people. And so he said, no. He never said. Not only that, one Negro, he thought, when Swami Vivekananda became very famous, he thought he is also a Negro. He came and congratulated, oh, you are my brother, you are a Negro, and I am so happy that a Negro has got so much of honor. Swamiji never said that I am not a Negro. He became very happy and he embraced him. He was equally acceptable and loved by Negroes, by whites, by Mongolians, by Hindus, by Muslims, by Christians, by Americans, of all countries. That is why he is a global leader. And for a global civilization, we must have that. And he had also global message of harmony of religions. And he was a prophet of internationalism. In 1894, Swami Vivekananda wrote, everything must be sacrificed for that one sentiment called universality. He also said, India is the queen of my adoration. And he said, sitting on the last bit of rock at Kanyakumari, I became condensed India. And he meditated on the great past of India and the suffering that he had seen with his own eyes while traveling all the country for 7 years. And also, he also saw the future, bright future that India that will come. And he said, I became condensed India. At the same time, he said, I belong to the whole world. What is India to me? And then he gave a beautiful sentence. He said, we are servants of that God who by the ignorant is called man. We are servants of that God who by the ignorant is called man. So we are the servants of God called man. So we are servants of man. So he wanted to worship God in human beings. That is what Swami Vivekananda said. He also saw it in a prophetic voice, in a prophetic mood. He said, I have a message to the West as Buddha had a message to the East. So, and his face was like Buddha. In fact, when Jamsetji Tata went to Japan and they traveled together from Japan to Chicago, afterwards Jamsetji Tata told Sister Nivedita that we were in Japan. Many Japanese used to tell that Swami Vivekananda's face resembles that of Buddha. And they used to give him a lot of reverence because his face resembled that of Buddha. And Swamiji had the spirit of Buddhism, Buddha also, the heart of Buddha, compassionate Buddha. That was the heart of Swami Vivekananda. Not only that, when Swami Vivekananda, before going to Parliament, before going to America, when he met at Mount Abu, at Abu Road station, he met his brother disciple Swami Turiyananji. Swamiji told, my dear brother, I have not been able to understand your so-called religion. But one thing I can tell you, my heart has expanded and I can feel for the miseries of the people. I really feel very much. And he started weeping. Then Swami Turiyanji said, at that time the idea crossed my mind, are not the very words of Buddha? At that time I saw it is not Vivekananda, it is Buddha who is speaking. His compassionate heart is feeling for the miseries of the people all around the globe. And so he had a compassionate heart of Buddha. You know, in 1993, there was a great celebration in Paris, in France. That celebration was the centenary celebration of Swami Vivekananda participation in the World Parliament of Religion in Chicago in 1893. So in 1993, that centenary celebration was being conducted. And that celebration was done by UNESCO in its headquarters in Paris, in France. And the then Director General of UNESCO was Dr. Federico Mayer. And he said, I am indeed struck by the similarity of the Constitution of the Ramakrishna Mission, which Swami Vivekananda established as early as 1897, with that of UNESCO, which was done up in 1945. He said, I am amazed. What a visionary he was. We are talking in 1945, we talked about respecting the humanity, serving the humanity, irrespective of caste, creed, color, religion, nationality. Same words have been used by Swami Vivekananda in 1897 while drawing up the constitution of Ramakrishna Mission. There is a great similarity between the constitution of Ramakrishna Mission which Swami Vivekananda drew up in 1897 and which was drawn by UNESCO in 1947. He said, that is why I think Swamiji is a global leader, and that is why UNESCO must celebrate Swami Vivekananda participating in the World Power of Religion. And that is why that was celebrated, and now 150th birth anniversary celebration also maybe most probably will be celebrated by UNESCO. We are trying that the whole world should celebrate because he was a world leader. He was a global leader for a global civilization. And he is a global inspirer. He inspired, his message inspires all types of people, of all status, of all denominations, of all countries. As I told, Zhuan Qingchuan of China, or Ipichalisha of Russia, all of them, they are appreciated, they are praising Swami Vivekananda. And Will Dura, the great historian, says that Swami Vivekananda's contribution is unparalleled in the world history and for Indian culture. L. Basham, the great British historian, says, he said in 1963, while there was centenary celebration of Swami Vivekananda, he said, which is very true now when we are having 150th birth anniversary, it is equally true what he said in 1963 during centenary celebration. What did he say? L. Basham says, it is very difficult to evaluate the importance of Swami Vivekananda in the scale of world history. Perhaps the future generations will be able to appreciate the greatness of Swami Vivekananda better because we are too near the history. And even now we are too near the history because Swami Vivekananda, when he said that I am going to now leave my body, he had already told, when I give up my body, please cremate me there. He was sitting on under a bell tree in Belur by the side of the Ganges. He said, when I give up my body, you cremate my body there. Exactly on the same spot, his body was cremated. Now there is a small temple of Om, Swami Vivekananda, and also Swami Vivekananda image is there on the ground floor. Exactly on the same spot there is a temple where Swami Vivekananda's body was cremated. But when he said like this, then they asked the fellow, Swamiji, why you want to give up your body so quickly? Then he said, I have done enough for next 1500 years. The message that I gave, it will take 1500 years for you to translate into action. He has already given us enough food. Tremendous. And really when you feel, today when we are looking at the problems, yesterday I talked to you about the problem of corruption. Swamiji had given the solution of this problem of corruption 100 years back. Not only that, he had predicted that when independence comes, those people, your own people, will start sucking the blood of your own people. Why? Because we are not yet ready for democracy. He told, where are the people who want democracy? First educate the masses and then talk about democracy, he said. We did not do that. We put the cart before the horse. How can the cart go? That is exactly what Swamiji said. First educate the masses. Education alone is the panacea of all our ills. And not only that, he did not talk about literacy. We have 35% illiterate people, but he did not talk about literacy. He said we have to give man-making, character-building education. Enlightened citizenship. Even so-called educated people, they do not go for vote. Only those people who go for vote are who get the bottle of wine. And those people who are educated, who know what is good and what is bad, they do not go because it's too hot outside. They are least bothered about what is happening in nation. Main, meri bibi, mera bacha, mera bakan, desh jai bhaad mein. This is what the common masses. That means enlightened citizen has not come. How many are bothered about what is happening to the poor masses? How many are bothered about so many people are not getting next day meals? I am getting 2 meals a day. Till that time it's okay. No problem. I am getting water. If I don't get water, then I will start shouting. I must get everything. Then whatever happens to the villagers, to the poor people, I don't worry. This is we have become so selfish. But Swami Vivekananda said, unless until enlightened citizenship comes, democracy is of no use. It's no use. That is what he had predicted. In fact, all the problems that we are facing, the reservation policy, the tussle between lower caste and higher caste, all this he had predicted. He told Brahmins, the upper caste people. Even now there is time, you give up all your jewels that you have been preserving through thousands of years, you give to these lower caste people and disappear into thin air. Otherwise, they will rise up, and they are going to rise up. And they are going to take the revenge of thousands of years of oppression they have done. Now you see, many higher caste students are telling and they are weeping, you see, all the seats are reserved. There is not a single seat for me. How do I do? I am more competent, I am also getting good percentage, but all seats are reserved for lower caste. This is what Swamiji predicted. He said, if now higher caste people, they show magnanimity, then the lower caste people will not go into conflict and there will be no such need. And both will go hand in hand. And he wanted leveling down, not leveling down, but leveling up. He wanted all the Shudras to come to become Brahmins. That means in terms of culturally and educationally and spiritually. So all should go up. Now reverse thing is happening, it is leveling down. All want to become tribe or scheduled caste, scheduled tribe to get the get admission and to get all the privileges. They want to want to become lower caste people now. So Swami Vivekananda has given the solution to all the problems of our nation, not only of our nation, for the whole world. And he predicted also the problems and given the solution also. He was a great visionary, a great missionary. He said, I have done enough for next 1500 years. So whether it is Chinese, whether Bill Dora, whether Besham, whether it is American, Eleanor Stark, she has written a book. The name of the book is The Gift Unopened. And there she says, Swami Vivekananda has given the solution to all the problems of America. America today is suffering. So many people are committing suicide. So many people are falling into depression. According to National Institute of Mental Health, at least one person on an average in every family is regularly going to a psychiatrist. And I saw with my own eyes how much depressed they are. Swami Vivekananda knew this depression is coming. That is why he gave the message of harmony of four religions, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. He says, when you practice these four yogas, you will get internal peace. And he wanted to give the nectar of Vedanta. And when the people were suffering in America, and they were suffering because of the guilt consciousness, he thundered, he said, Vedanta does not recognize sin, it recognizes error. And the greatest error you are making is when you are calling yourself a sinner. No, Vedanta refuses to call you a sinner. Hindu refuses to call you a sinner. Ye the children of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings, ye divinities on earth sinners. It is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing libel on human nature. Come up, O loins, and shake up the delusion that you are sheep. Your souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. You are not matter, you are not bodies. Matter is a servant, not ye the servant of matter. Shrunuvantu vishve amritasya putra aye dhamani divyani tastu vedahametam purusham mahantam aditya varnam tamasa parastat tameva viditvati mritameti nanya pantha viditayanaya. That is the message of the Shveta Upanishad, which Swami Vivekananda, because he had realized in his own life, he said, ye the children of immortal bliss, let me call you brothers, you are the children of immortal bliss. You are Amritasya Putra. You are not animals. You ask any person, any young man, what is a man? He will immediately tell, man is a social animal, because he's been taught like that. Man is a social animal. But Benjamin Franklin says, no, no, no. Man is a tool-making animal. After all, he is an animal. But Alvin Toffler says, no, no, no. Man is an economic animal. But after all, he is an animal. But what is Indian culture, spiritual culture telling, the ancient Indian culture? You are not animal. What are you? Shrunuvantu Vishwe Amritasya Putra. You are Amritasya Putra. You are the children of immortal bliss. And Swami Vivekananda said, let me, brothers, call you with this sweet name. You are the children of immortal bliss. You are not animals. You are not sinners. You are the children of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings. Ye divinities are sinners. It is a sin to call a man so. It is a standing libel on human nature. Come up, O lions, and shake up the delusion that you are sheep. Your souls immortal, spirits free, blessed and eternal. You are not matter. Matter is servant, not either servant of matter. That is the message of nectar of Vedanta that Swami Vivekananda gave in America. And he gave all the four yogas, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, as back in 1896 in New York. But Eleanor Stark said, but we forgot that message. In America, today we are suffering because Swami Vivekananda gave that message of immortality, gave that message of nectar of Vedanta. He also poured that nectar of Vedanta, but unfortunately, he gave a very good gift of all the 4 yogas. He gave a very good gift of nectar of Vedanta, but the gift remains unopened. So she wrote a book, The Gift Unopened. And now this is 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. This is the right time to open that gift. And we in India are also equally responsible for not opening that gift that remains unopened. Whatever message Swami Vivekananda gave, you are not opened. Beautiful books are there, so many beautiful books. And with all that solution of all the problems that we are having, and with tremendous power, that electrifying effect is there, as I told. But unfortunately, we have not made use of that message. We have not yet understood his life. We have not yet understood the significance of his life because we are too near the history. The future generations will be able to appreciate that global message of Swami Vivekananda. And as I told you, he is a universal inspirer. I told you yesterday about my association with Dr. Kalam. I was taking Dr. Kalam from Rajkot to Porbandar for inaugurating that school building in Porbandar. I told you about that. So there are 3 hours journey. We were both of us, only 2 of us were there in the car. So Dr. Kalam says, Swamiji, please tell some inspiring incidents from the life of Swami Vivekananda. And then I told many incidents how Swami Vivekananda's life was saved by a Muslim fakir when he was traveling on foot near Almora. That place is still there. There was a Muslim fakir by the side of the cremation ground, and suddenly Swamiji fell down and he became almost unconscious. And that Muslim fakir, because he was hungry for many days, there was no food, so a Muslim fakir immediately brought some cucumber and put that and some water and cucumber into his mouth, and that is how his life was saved. Now Dr. Kalam, though he had read something about Swami Vivekananda, but he did not know about this incident. Then again I told how Swami Vivekananda used to have correspondence with Muhammad Sarfaraz Hussain of Nainital. And he wrote to Muhammad Sarfaraz Hussain, I see in my mind's eye a new India arising with Vedantic brain and Islamic body. With Vedantic brain and Islamic body. A great India will come up by the combination of the Vedantic brain and Islamic body. He was open to all. He was not a fanatic Hindu. He was a universal heart. And later on, Muhammad Sarfaraz Hussain became so much inspired that he became Swami Muhammadananda. And he wrote articles on Vedanta and Islam in our Prabuddha Bharata. That magazine was started by Swami Vivekananda in 1896, the oldest journal of the whole world on spirituality, which is still going on, which is still being published from Mayavati Himalayas, Advaita Ashrama Mayavati Himalayas. So Swami Vivekananda gave that message. And all these things, when I told Dr. Kalam, he was very much enamored. And then how our car entered into the ashrama, we did not know how 3 hours elapsed. And then, as I told you, we immediately went, then he meditated in the room where Swami Vivekananda stayed. And then from there, then we had to get him up from his samadhi. And then we took him to the place. He inaugurated the school building, talked to 3,000 youth. Then he went to Mahatma Gandhi's birthplace, Kirti Mandir. And then he came to our ashrama, took lunch with us. And from there, he went to Prasla, for which actually he had come. And that is about an hour's drive from there. And from Prasla, he went in the evening to Rajkot to take a flight to Bombay on to Chennai. At the time he was professor at Anna University. He had not yet become the president of India. Incidentally, I had to take the same day a flight from Rajkot to Bombay on to Benares for their centenary celebration. So seeing me in the aircraft, Dr. Kalam was so happy. Swamiji, you are going with the same flight. I want to sit near you. I'm talking about 13th February 2002. I said, okay, I will come to you. No, Swamiji, you are a monk. I should come to you. So humble. Then I told the young man who was sitting away, I said, Dr. Kalam wants to talk to me. You go to his seat. He also wanted to talk to me. I said, I will talk to you later on. Then Dr. Kalam took and said, Swamiji, in the morning, you told so many nice things about Swami Vivekananda. Please tell something more. Again, I told how Swami Vivekananda inspired Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, Dr. Radhakrishnan, Jawaharlal Nehru, Chakravarti Rajagopalacharya, Sri Aurobindo, all of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, all the great stalwarts, the great patriots, they derived their inspiration from Swami Vivekananda. In fact, Mahatma Gandhi told on 6th February 1921, when he came to Belubad, Then they told Gandhiji, please give a lecture. Gandhi said, I have not come here to give lecture. I have come here to pay my homage to the great memory of Swami Vivekananda. But I will tell only one thing to the youth present here. When you come to this great place, don't go empty-handed. Take some of the great inspiration from the life of Swami Vivekananda. And please read the books of Swami Vivekananda. And then he said, please read the books of Swami Vivekananda. I have myself gone through the books of Swami Vivekananda, and after reading the books of Swami Vivekananda, the love that I had for my country became 1,000-fold. This is what Mahatma Gandhi said. Subhash Chandra Bose, just a student of 9th standard in Cuttack, he came across a book of Swami Vivekananda and immediately decided a whole life I will sacrifice for the sake of my mother India. That is the inspiration that he derived. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said, in our times, hardly there was a young man who was not inspired by the message of Swami Vivekananda and his patriotism. And I am sure the future, our young generation of today will also derive great inspiration and will be benefited highly if they read the books of Swami Vivekananda. That is what Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru said. Dr. Radhakrishnan said, when we used to write letters to our friends, we used to quote letters of Swami Vivekananda, because if we exchange the book of letters of Swami Vivekananda, then the British government would catch us. Because at that time, the intelligence department made a report to British government. In all the revolutionary houses, we are going to find out the bombs. Sometimes we get the bombs, sometimes we do not get. But 2 bombs everywhere we get. What are the 2 bombs? One, the book of Bhagavad Gita, and one book of Swami Vivekananda. These 2 bombs are always there. And I always carry bombs with me, you know. Wherever I go, and the police says, there are so many boxes. Here also I brought the bombs. You see the bookstall. Wherever I go, I carry the bombs. And the police says, what is this? I said, bomb. Then he become afraid. I said, no, this is thought bomb. And this contains the bomb of non-violence, the bomb of universal brotherhood. These all the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda. And in fact, 2 years back, where Guwahati University had a seminar, the need of combining scientific spirit along with spirituality in education. That was the international seminar. So they invited me, and the present chief minister was that time also the chief minister, who has now recently become chief minister of Guwahati, Assam. So he inaugurated the seminar, and he had to agree that yes, spirituality is a must, because science will tell you how to prepare the bomb. But whether to utilize it for a serial bomb blast or not, that is only spirituality will tell you. And in fact, there was a serial bomb blast. Just a few days before the international seminar, there was a serial bomb blast in Guwahati. You must remember 2 years back. And so all were very much scared. So they told, now Swamiji, this is all about that one. First you talk to us how to combat terrorism. Then I told, okay, I will talk to you on how to combat terrorism. And then I told, in order to combat terrorism, we must have serial bomb blast. They became very much afraid. All of them were there. Maybe some of them were having bombs also. They were all sitting there in the hall. I said, we must have serial bomb blast. What do I mean by that? They are having serial bomb blast of violence. We must have a serial bomb blast of thoughts, of non-violence, of universal brotherhood, of harmony of religions, of non-dogmatism, acceptance of religions. And these are the ideas contained in Swami Vivekananda books. So these thoughts are there. Take one book of Swami Vivekananda. When you go there, I told them, don't take 1 copy, take 2 copies. One for yourself, one give to your friend. With the condition that if you like this book, you should purchase another 2 books and give to your 2 friends. And with that condition, if they like, they will purchase 2 books, small books, and they will give to your friends. What will happen? Fission reaction. 1 neutron giving rise to 3, 3 neutron is given to 9, multiply, and suddenly there is a bomb blast. All great thoughts will enter the whole society. So we have to have that chain reaction. So we have to spread these ideas, the ideas of non-violence, ideas of harmony of religions, which are there in a very powerful way, the powerful books of Swami Vivekananda. So when I told like that, first of all, they did not understand that what do I mean by serial bomb blast. But when they heard, then they became a little silent and they said, yes, these are the ideas. I said, if you want, you must go to the root of the problem. Long-term solution is only this. Only good thoughts can counteract the bad thoughts. Only ideas of non-violence can counteract the ideas of violence. Only the idea of universal peace and harmony of religions can counteract the ideas of dogmatism and bigotry. There is no other way out. And these are the ideas that we have to spread like wildfire with a chain reaction. And that is the serial bomb blast we have to do. And that is what they agreed. So in any case, when I told this all to Dr. Kalam, he was, Suddenly, the plane touched Bombay airport. Then he said, Swamiji, Bombay has come so quickly. I wanted to learn so many more things about Vivekananda. Anyway, it was one of the greatest days of my life. I learned so many great things about great people. In fact, I asked him, why are you so eager to learn about Swami Vivekananda? And he gave a beautiful reply. Dr. Kalam said, Swamiji, I think Swami Vivekananda is the first saint who converted religion into practical spirituality. Swami Vivekananda is the first saint who converted religion into practical spirituality. Practical spirituality means serving mankind in the terms of hospitals, schools, colleges. I may worship the God, the only God that I believe in, above all, my God the wicked, my God the miserable. And that is what he has demonstrated. Not only though he spoke, but he put into action. He was not only visionary, he was a missionary. He started the Ramakrishna mission as a missionary and gave that message and gave also the demonstration. So Dr. Kalam later on became the president, and then also he said, then afterwards he again came to Porbandar after becoming president at our request on 12 January 2006. That was Swami Vivekananda's birthday. And he said, Swamiji, you wanted me to come Swami Vivekananda's birthday, I am here on Swami Vivekananda's birthday. I said, thank you. And then he gave a beautiful, inspiring speech to 5,000 youth, and there he told, Swami Vivekananda is not only leader of India, though his birthday is celebrated as National Youth Day, but I don't think Swami Vivekananda is a national leader. I think Swami Vivekananda belongs to the whole world. He's a global leader. And then he said how Swami Vivekananda inspired Jamshedji Tata to start Indian Institute of Science while they were traveling together in the same ship from Japan to Chicago. All these details he gave. I told something about that. So, whether it's Dr. Kalam, the President of India, or whether it is Huanzhi Chuan, the professor of Peking University, whether it is E.P. Chelyushev, the professor of Russia, whether it is Rybakov, the scientist of Russia, or whether it is the historian A.L. Basham, or whether it is the historian Will Durant, whether it is the historian Dr. Arnold J. Toynbee, they are all with one voice. They say, appreciate the global leadership of Swami Vivekananda, the global ideas of Swami Vivekananda, the universal ideas of Swami Vivekananda, the universal spirit of Swami Vivekananda, the spirit of harmony of religions that has been told by Swamiji, the message of Swami Vivekananda, they are all being nerved by that. Not only that high type of people, not only that rich or the kings, but the poorest of the poor also got influenced by Swamiji. Not only that, the common rut also got influenced by Swamiji. And not only that he inspired at that time all those great people of the past, like Roma Rolla and others. But not only that, even today, he continues to inspire the people. Even today. Because Swami Vivekananda said, in a very prophetic voice, he told Eric Hammond, it may be that I shall find it good to get outside this body, to cast it off like a disused garment, but I shall not cease to work. I shall inspire men everywhere until the world shall know that it is one with God. And he is still there in his fine form, particularly is still present in his books, and that is why when you read his books, you feel that electric shock. You feel that shock, you feel that great thrill. Why? Because he is present in his fine form, particularly in his books. He is not dead. And he continues to inspire, even as in today. There is a lady taxi driver, Jasbir Kaur Ahuja, the first lady taxi driver of India. She was interviewed by the newspapers. Didn't you feel difficulties? She said, I faced a lot of difficulties. But what to do? When I became the first lady, my husband was a taxi driver and he had to be operated upon. He was in the hospital and I had no money. So I had to become a taxi driver. There was no other income source. And I got a lot of criticism and I got a lot of difficulties. But what did I do, you know? I wrote one sentence of Swami Vivekananda in the wall of my room. And whenever I get depressed, when I used to get depressed, whenever I thought, no, I will give up my taxi drivership, immediately I read the sentence of Swami Vivekananda. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is it, and I started driving again. Miss Bhavna Garg, the IAS topper of 1999, she was interviewed. For the first time you appeared and you passed and you got topper, didn't you feel Nervous? Yes, I used to feel nervous. But what I used to do is that whenever I felt nervous, I used to keep a book of Swami Vivekananda. Whenever I used to feel nervous, just read one sentence from Swami and I used to get surcharged. And that is how I overcame my nervousness. And for the very first attempt, I became a topper. Whether it is a student, whether it is a lady taxi driver, whether it is the President of India, whether it is a great historian, all of them, Swami Vivekananda is a universal inspirer. Whether in America, India, China, Russia, and when the Japanese Prime Minister came 2 years back, and he addressed the joint parliament, he started his speech. In his inaugural address, he gave the inaugural speech of Swami Vivekananda. He quoted. And in his concluding address, he again quoted the concluding address of Swami Vivekananda given at the Parliament Religious. That is the inspiration that Japan derives. That is the inspiration China derives. That is the inspiration Russia derives. That is the inspiration America derives. India is very slow in recognizing Swami Vivekananda because he is too near us. He is our own. So we do not. So that is what happens normally. Chirag tale andhera. But gradually in India also, we are gradually recognizing, and many people are getting inspiration from the life of Swami Vivekananda. Mr. M.V. Kamath, the former editor of Illustrated Weekly, he says, when I started reading Vivekananda, I was amazed. I felt he was talking like the management guru of 21st century. All his thoughts are contained so many ideas. In fact, when Swami Vivekananda was there, management in the modern sense had not yet started. The scientific management that we talk about came later on after Swami. But he was talking like the management guru of 21st century. All his ideas on management and leadership. In fact, the book, as I told you, has come. Swami Vivekananda, the Born Leader, in which he has told all these things what we are talking about trusteeship management, about servant leadership. This is all being demonstrated in Swami Vivekananda's life and message. When Swamiji went to America, I will now end my speech with that one incident. When Swamiji went to America for Parliament of Religions in 1893, at that time the richest person in the world was John D. Rockefeller, the emperor of petroleum industry. But as it happens with rich people, he was very morose and he was contemplating suicide. And one of his friends suggested, you know, a great Indian yogi has come to my friend's house. He's staying with my friend's house. Why don't you come and take his advice? So you will get peace of mind. Rockefeller said, what? I to go to a beggar for getting advice? You know, we are all beggars. We are professional beggars. We live on charity. We live on donation. So we are professional beggars. What? I to go to a beggar for getting advice? No, I will not go. And he did not go. But one fine morning, suddenly he came to the place where Swami Vivekananda was staying, called the bell. The butler opened the door. He went inside. At that time, Swamiji was not in his drawing room. He was in study room. So Rockefeller went to study room of Swamiji without being announced. But Swamiji, you know, he had great power of concentration. He was fully engrossed in his study. So Rockefeller stood for some time, but when he saw that Swamiji is not raising his head, he knocked at the table. Then Swamiji looked up. Rockefeller said, I am Rockefeller. Swamiji said, what do you want? Now, Rockefeller was not prepared for this type of treatment. Rockefeller means the President of America would get up. And here is the beggar sitting and asking, what do you want? He became very much annoyed. He said, I don't want anything. Then Swamiji said, then what? Then Swamiji said, then why have you come? Now, he had no answer because he had come without invitation. Then Swamiji said, my dear Rockefeller, I know why you have come. You come here because you do not have peace of mind. And then Swamiji started narrating many incidents from the life of Swami Vivekananda which no one else knew except Rockefeller. Then he became very much excited. Who has told all these things to you? Swamiji smiled and said, do you think it is necessary that somebody should tell me? I can see through your mind as I can see through a glass almirah. Then Rockefeller was very much perturbed. My God, he has come to know all my secrets. Then Swamiji said, my dear Rockefeller, I will give you a piece of advice. Remember, you are not the owner of your wealth. You are the custodian of your wealth. Utilize this money for removing the sufferings of millions of people. Immediately you will get peace of mind. There is no other way by which you can get peace of mind. And Rockefeller was not prepared to listen to anybody's advice, least of all from a beggar. So he left abruptly as he had come. In annoyance, he left. But after a few days, again he came. Again he called the bell. The butler opened the door. He went inside. Swamiji was not in his drawing room, so he went without being announced. He went to the study room. Swamiji was fully engrossed. Again, he knocked at the table. Then Swamiji looked up, and then he put a piece of paper in which he had made an announcement of a very huge donation for a public cause. When Swamiji read that letter, Rockefeller said, "Now you must thank me. I have followed your advice." Swamiji said, "Well, it is for you to thank me." Because by following my advice, you will get peace of mind which cannot be perceived by millions of dollars in the market. That was the first huge donation of Rockefeller. Then later on, he made Rockefeller Foundation. With that Rockefeller Foundation, so much of researches have been done. Nobel Prize winning research have been done by that Rockefeller Foundation that is still going on. But that credit goes to Swami Vivekananda, who gave the message of, for the first time in the corporate world, the message of trusteeship management was given by Swami Vivekananda to Rockefeller. In our own times, that message has been taken by Bill Gates. When Bill Gates, for the first time, he came to India, some journalists, they interviewed him in Calcutta. He said, "Why you have come?" Because he said, "I have got a great respect towards Indian culture." "How did you get that respect?" "By reading the books of Swami Vivekananda." "Have you read any book of Swami Vivekananda?" He said, "What do you talk? I do not go to bed without reading a few pages from the books of Swami Vivekananda." When I read that, I was very much astonished, because my concept of Bill Gates, who believes in cutthroat competition, I'm talking about 10 years back, not now. I'm talking about 10 years back, that is the concept I had, who believes in cutthroat competition, and he was reading books of Swami Vivekananda, could not believe. But after 2 years, he made an announcement in the year 2000 that he will give all his wealth, excepting only $10 million for his children, all his wealth he will give for charity. And not only that, he started Melinda Bill Gates Foundation with $30 billion, not million dollar, $30 billion. And that particular foundation has been giving the donation for last few years. It has been the highest and the greatest donor for the whole world. Now I can believe, yes, he must have read the books of Swami Vivekananda, particularly his book of Karma Yoga is very favorite for him. He must have read the books of Swami Vivekananda, and he must have derived that inspiration of serving humanity, and he must have received the message of trusteeship management. But when I went to his site, nowhere he has written the book, name of Swami Vivekananda, but he says, I derived my inspiration from David Rockefeller. And David Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, these are all connections. Maybe there is some connection, whatever it is. But there, the journalist in Calcutta told, where he had acknowledged that he is reading the books of Swami Vivekananda. Whatever, I do not know whether it's true or not. But I feel Swami Vivekananda is a universal inspirer. He can inspire Bill Gates, he can inspire John D. Rockefeller, he can inspire rich people, he can inspire poor people, he can inspire a taxi driver, he can inspire students, he can inspire teachers. All types of people of all stratas, of all nations, of all societies, of all various categories, they all are getting Swami Vivekananda's message, and they are all getting influenced by the message of Swami Vivekananda. So Swami Vivekananda is a universal inspirer, and so now we are preparing for a new civilization. As I told you, communication technology has undergone a tremendous transformation. It is a global village, as we said. So we must have a global civilization based on spiritual culture. If we want to have world peace, if we want to have a global peace, for which we must have global leaders with a global vision and a global mission and a global leadership, and global leader who will be acceptable to all the people of all the castes, of all the religions and all the nations. And here is a leader, Swami Vivekananda, who is still, as on today, whose message is equally relevant today, even after so many years, more relevant than it was at his own time. But only thing, he's too near the history. Maybe the future generation will be able to recognize him. The earlier we recognize him as a global leader, the better it is for us, because that will remove suffering. He has given the message of Vedanta, the nectar of Vedanta. Now even we in India also need that message of Vedanta. America needed it at that time. We also don't have peace of mind. Swamiji had given the beautiful nectar of Vedanta, the beautiful message of 4 yogas, Karma Yoga, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga and Gyan Yoga. In very simple terms, all these yogas are here. You can get this yoga and you will find what message in 1896 Swamiji gave. Today it is available in the book form. But we are suffering unnecessarily. We are having mental tension unnecessarily. We are having tussle and all those types of small things. We are unnecessarily suffering. Swamiji has already given the solution to all our problems. That nectar is there. Let us open that nectar. The gift unopened, As Elena Stark says, the gift remains unopened. This is the high time. 150th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda is the right time to open that gift. And once that gift is already given to us in the form of nectar of Vedanta, nectar of all the 4 yogas, combination of 4 yogas, and if we accept that message, our life will be blessed. We will have values in our own life. We will have happiness and peace in our everyday life. We will have immortal, infinite happiness, infinite joy, infinite bliss also in our life. We will be able to achieve the main purpose of life. Not only that, we will be a blessing to society, and the whole society will undergo transformation. It will become a global society as per the vision of the global leader, Swami Vivekananda. Thank you very much.